In this lecture, we're going to be talking about setting and achieving goals. It is not enough for you to be able to concentrate and focus on whatever aspects in life you want to focus on. If you cannot set goals and achieve them, you will be concentrating and focusing on the wrong things. And eventually, even if you have a lot of concentrations and a lot of focus in your life, you will not be able to achieve the goals you have because you're setting your goals in a way that is not effective and your execution will be poor. So for you to be able to focus on tasks, you need to know what the goal is. And the goal needs to have some characteristics that would make it easier for you to achieve it. Now, of course, goal setting is much easier said than done. Only 8% of people who set, for example, New Year resolutions actually keep them for the year. So, how will you make sure that you set the right goals and follow through with them? Forbes magazine indicates something really important when it comes to goal setting. And what Forbes basically says about setting goal is that you need to face the 4 ugly facts. The first fact is, not everyone will support you. And of course, this is more related to your own mindset. But whenever you're setting a goal, make sure that you know that nobody will help you and that there's a lot of people who might not support you and might not help you. It's up to you to follow through and achieve this goal. Another thing is that you'll be sacrificing something else. When you have a goal that you're working on, it's taking time from you. That means you are sacrificing something else to be able to work on this goal. And of course, it could derail you, meaning it can get in the way of other things. It can get in the way of your relationships. It can get in the way of, as we said, sacrificing other things. Lastly, Forbes said that setting goals, you need to know that eventually it bites back. When you have a goal, it will never or very rarely happens that you will have a goal and everything will work according to plan and you will get there. And that's exactly why it bites back. Because every single time you set a goal and you start going through obstacles, it's going to bite back, it's going to put you down, and you need to pick yourself back up and keep moving towards your goal. So, once you realize these 4 concepts, that setting goals will eventually, it will bite you back. It could derail you. You'll be sacrificing something else in that not everyone will support or help you. Once you are aware of these things, then you're ready to move to the next step. Now, before sitting down and setting your goals, you need to actually know what these goals are, right? So what are your dreams and goals? You need to ask yourself a question. This isn't what you already have or what you have done, but what you want. Have you ever really sat down and thought through your life in terms of values and decided what you really want? See, you need to be genuine about it. A lot of people, they say that they have a certain goal or a certain dream because for them it's comfortable, or everybody says that you'll make a really good lawyer, or I'm pretty sure you'll do really well in math because you're smart, whatever. So people start building dreams and goals based on fake realities and fake aspirations. There's a lot of people who go to school and they start learning something, they go into a major, and then they get to the place where they graduated and now they're ready to work, and they realize that this is not what they're like. Their goal is not to work in this field. So, before going into all this hassle of getting a new job and then 2 months later figuring out that, you know what, this is not my goal, this is not what I like, I see my life going in a different direction. Well, guess what? If you sat down, if you blocked everything and you just sat down and really thought about your dreams and your goals, what you really want, what you want to be doing for the next 5, 10, 20 years of your life, if you do that, you'll avoid a lot of trouble in the future. So before setting goals, Whether it's New Year resolution or after watching this course, you think and you know that it's time for you to sit down and figure out what your goals are, it's never too late. It's better to realize what your goals and dreams are right now and start working on them than realizing that after spending 4 years in college or university or spending a year at a job that makes you miserable and that you end up quitting so you can start from zero, which is figuring out what you actually want to do. But by the end of this course, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys would have probably forgotten about this point. So what I would recommend you to do is to either pause after I finish what I have to say right now, just pause and do it, or by the end of this same lecture, don't continue. Just close your computer or your phone, whatever device you're using to watch this video, and go sit down and figure out what your goals and dreams are. Just ask yourself questions. Ask yourself if what you're doing right now is something that you actually want to do, if it aligns with your goals and your dreams. Think about what you want to do in life. Think about where you see yourself in 5 years, where you see yourself in 10 years, where you see yourself when you're retired. And something that can be really helpful for you to figure this out is mind mapping. And in further lectures, you guys are going to go through mind mapping step by step, and you'll be able to mind map your dreams and your goals for you to be able to know what you actually want. Before setting goals, you need to know where they're leading to. When you set a goal, it's because you have something that you want to accomplish. When you set a goal that you want to get straight A's in school, what is the reason behind it? Maybe it's because you want to go to this Ivy League college. When you say, I want to make $1 million in the next 2 years, why is that? It's because you want to have financial freedom. When one of your goals is to go to the gym on a regular basis and work out, so then you can start posting stuff on Instagram and become Instagram famous or become a model, then you need to just sit down and ask yourself, is this really what I want to do? But second, you need to realize that behind every single goal, there is a destination. Goals are made for you to reach something beyond them, right? So before setting a goal, you need to know what the destination is. If you get in your car and start driving saying, I want to eat something, and then you start looking around for restaurants, you know how long it would take you? You will see a restaurant after another. It will be so hard for you to decide, and you'll waste a lot of time. But if you get in your car and say, I want to eat McDonald's, and you pull out your GPS and you put the closest McDonald's, you go grab the food and you're back. Guess what? This is way faster. Why? Because you know your destination. So, once you figure out where you want to go, once you figure out the destination, once you know if what you really want to do, what are your dreams and aspirations, you're ready to move into the next step, which is setting your goals. Now, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys heard about the term SMART goals. Whenever somebody talks about setting a goal, we talk about SMART goals. And the reason why, because this acronym SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive, has a lot to do with the quality of your goals and eventually you reaching your destination or achieving your dreams. S stands for specific. Often we set goals that are not precise and specific, which is nearly impossible to judge whether we hit them or not. When you say, I want to be rich, well, what do you mean by being rich? Maybe being rich can be having $50,000 a year. Maybe for you, being rich is having $1 million a year. That's why you need to be specific. A statement like, I will lose weight is too vague. How will you know if and when you've reached your goal? Now, saying, I will lose 5 pounds in the next 30 days, or I'll lose 2 inches from my waist is much more specific. Now, at the end of the month, it will be a simple matter of measuring to see if you reach the specific goal that you put for yourself, right? The more specific you are, the better. So when you're setting a specific goal, it's not just for you to be able to measure if you attained your goal yet or not, but also to be able to know where you are at the moment. So, as we said, if your goal is to lose 5 pounds in the next 30 days, and by the day number 12, you see that you lost 2.5 pounds, you know that, well, you have 2.5 pounds to go and you have 18 days to go, which is good. You're ahead of your goals. And this will give you this motivation, because you'll see that you're moving forward really fast. But when your goal is too general, I want to lose weight, and after 12 days you see that you lost 2.5 pounds, this will not have the same impact on you as it will have if in the first place your goal was to lose 5 pounds in the next 30 days. Now, one of the ways for you to have a very specific goal is to answer the 6 W questions: who, what, where, when, which, and why. Why is specific reasons, purpose, or benefits of accomplishing this goal. Which is figuring out what kind of things do you need to accomplish this goal and what might be an obstacle. When is to figure out a timeline, a time frame for this specific goal. Who is involved. So basically, is it something related to you personally, or is there other people involved in it? And eventually, what do you want to accomplish? What is the end goal? What is the destination? And then we move to M, measurable. Goals need to be measurable. So just the fact that you already have a specific goal, you are setting yourself on the right track to be able to pick a measurable goal. So a goal like, I will do well in the course, doesn't give you a way to assess your progress. But a goal like, I will get at least 80% on each quiz and paper in the course, is a measurable goal. And now to add the specific factor to it, it would be something like, I will get at least 80% on the next upcoming quiz for, and you name the course. Because when you say on each quiz and paper, well, you haven't specified, because there might be several other things. There might be quiz papers, essays, there might be a lot of stuff. So you need to specify and not just say quizzes and papers. So then you have the measurable factor, which is you saying how much you want to get, and then you specify the goal and you get more into the details. So going all the way back to when we said you need to ask yourself a question and figure out what you really want, what are your dreams and aspirations. When you say that one of your goals is to get 80%, if you say one of my goals is to get 80% on the next quiz that I have in the Psychology 101 course, what that means is that, what it has to mean is that one of your dreams or aspirations is for you, for example, to get into something related to psychology. Otherwise, if this does not align with your dreams or your goals, if one of your dreams or goals is, for example, to build a business and you don't really care about what's going to happen in school, well, this goal is not going to be effective because it does not align with exactly with what you want. After measurable comes A, attainable. So in order for you to successfully reach your goal, it needs to be realistic, achievable. And it needs to be achievable for you. Because everybody has tried to, for example, drop a few pounds or gain some weight or get an A+ or get a promotion. But often their success or failure depends on setting some particular goals. So if you say, I want to work 12 hours a day on my business, on my marketing business for the next 6 months, and you have a full-time job where you work 9 hours, well, this is not achievable. You just don't have the time of the day. You can't do it. You can't achieve that. If you say, I wanna start eating 3 healthy meals a day for the next week, and all you have in your fridge and in your kitchen is junk food, guess what? This is not an achievable goal. For it to be achievable, that means that you have the means to get there, and you know that you have the means to get there. And being achievable, a goal being achievable is very different than a goal being realistic. Goals need to be realistic. That brings us to the R section. When we're children, for example, We believe that we can do anything. And even for now, a lot of people think, and I myself believe, that anything is possible and every single person can achieve whatever they want. Impossible is nothing. But being realistic to a certain extent is a must. See, what happens is the more we grow as people and the more we go through disappointments and hard times, and that's when our notion of being realistic starts to drop. And eventually we get to a point where being realistic is something very important. In the same time, most people don't set the bar up so high because they want to be realistic. They trap themselves in saying, I want to be realistic, instead of actually discovering their full potential. So when I say you need to have a realistic goal, I mean, you cannot say, I want to make $2 million overnight, even though it's possible, but this is not something realistic. Something unrealistic is, for example, I want to go hunt a shark bare hands. I just want to go dive in the water and hunt a shark, and I want to get it up with me on my boat or whatever. This is not realistic. Something not realistic is you being a 9-year-old boy who is 4'5" and who wants to dunk. It doesn't work like that. You need to be realistic, but in the same time, you need to realize if you're actually being realistic or you're just trying to avoid the work or trying to avoid a certain disappointment. There is a very thin line between being actually realistic and being realistic just because you want to avoid a certain thing. So for you to be able to know if the goal is actually realistic, you need to ask yourself, how do you know that you can achieve this goal? And if you have a clear answer that's going to convince you that this is realistic, then you're good to go. And going back to attainable, something else that you can ask yourself as well to know if a certain goal is attainable, you can ask yourself, what steps will you have to take to achieve it? So in order for you to have a goal that is attainable, as soon as you know that there are a certain amount of steps, or there are certain things that you can do or that you have to do in order for you to attain this goal, that means that following these steps or following these tasks will help you or will get you to accomplish your goal, which means that this goal is attainable. And finally, it needs to be time sensitive. I'm not saying measurable or specific because they are kind of related. Being time sensitive or having a time frame, meaning it needs to have a deadline. So, how is that different from when we said, I want to lose 5 pounds in 30 days? Well, it's not. So the thing is, they are all complementary. A smart goal would be, I want to go to the gym 6 days a week. So let's say Monday to Saturday at 6 in the morning with my friend Daniel, in order for me to lose 5 pounds in the next 30 days. So first, you were specific by asking yourself the 6 W questions and answering them. Then you're measurable, saying you want to lose 5 pounds. Then you are being time sensitive, saying in the next 30 days. And then you are being realistic because you know that it is possible and it is something that you can do and people did it before. And then it's attainable because you know that how will you get there? You will get there by following the steps, which are going to the gym Monday to Saturday at 6 a.m. And following through all the way to the end of the month with your workout. This is you having a SMART goal. This is very different than saying, I want to lose weight. People who say, I want to lose weight, never do. But people who say, I want to do this, and that, stating a SMART goal just as it is, these are the people who would actually follow through with their goals in order for them to eventually reach their dreams or what they're hoping to achieve in life. Now, something else when it comes to setting your goals is having different categories. People usually set dreams in different parts and areas in their lives that eventually it becomes overwhelming and they can't actually follow through with the goals because they did not put a line, they did not separate the different categories or the different parts in life that they have. So wealth, health, relationship, fitness, school, you can have different categories. Each and every person has categories based on their life and their dreams and their aspirations. And now what usually happens is that people have several goals in life. And when one of these goals, they fail at reaching this goal, they get into this state of disappointment. And most people go through it. Eventually, of course, you get to a point where you're used to it so much that you're kind of immune to feeling disappointment when you don't reach a goal. But usually when this happens, when you had a goal and you fail, you feel this disappointment and this affects your other goals. You kind of lose the motivation because when you set your goals, when you sit down and set your goals, most people are aiming for perfection. They want to achieve all of these. And not being able to achieve one of these would kind of break the chain for them. That's why most people, when they do their New Year resolution and they have several goals, as soon as they drop one of these goals, they start dropping all the other goals. And that's exactly why dividing these goals into different categories can prevent that from happening. In that way, if your health or relationship goals fail, you will not be derailed in a way that you would be if all of these goals were set one after the other. So, if your relationship goals are not going the way you wanted them to go, but in different areas in your life, in fitness, you're still good. You'll follow through with that in school, in health, in wealth. This is one aspect for putting all the different areas in your life in terms of goals into different categories. But it's not just that. When you if you decide to use mind mapping to set up your goals and eventually your tasks, you will see that having one keyword like wealth would help you much more in determining what you want to do than just stating all your goals one after the other. There's even going to be an example about New Year resolution where you're going to see that, the main idea here is the New Year resolution. And what do you want to do? Well, you have goals in wealth, you have goals in health, you have goals in relationships, and then you need to figure out each and every goal or each and every task in this category. And the third reason is balance. There are a lot of people who just focus on one category, one area in their life, and they stick to it and they drop everything else. So you see, there are a lot of people who work long hours. They work 14, 16 hours a day, but this is all they do. They just work. They don't care about their health. They don't eat well. They don't have any kind of relationships. They drop everything so they can focus on work. They don't exercise. They don't care about anything but work. So eventually wealth, for example. There are some people who are just all about relationships. They want to meet people and talk to people and socialize, that at the end of the day, they don't have time to actually get good grades and sit down and focus on work or stick to a gym schedule because their life is so attached to one category that all the rest of these categories get left behind. The best way to set goals is to have balance. If all your goals are related to work, you're going to get to a point where it's either going to become overwhelming or you're just going to feel bored because you're not doing anything else. And of course, life is not just about work. And life is not just about fitness. And it's not just about school and not just about relationships. It's about this mixture between all of these different areas. So having at least one goal in each and every area in your life that you want to work on would be enough. Don't do the mistake of setting too many goals in each and every area in your life that eventually you will not be able to achieve them. A lot of people ask this question: how many goals should I really be setting? How many goals should they have? Well, if you follow the SMART goal strategy, what you will see is that when you're setting a goal and you get to the acronym A, attainable, you will start thinking how your time is divided if you realize that you only have 1 hour left in your day and you are trying to start a business that needs at least 2-3 hours a day. Then you know that it's not attainable. And this is where enough is enough. You have your goals and now you need to focus on them, because other goals will not be attainable and therefore they will stand in the way of you being able to even accomplish the goals that you already have in front of you. Now, if you don't want to use mind mapping, I would always suggest, and it's always better, to write the goals down. Most people who do achieve their goals, they write them down. Writing them down and committing these goals to paper is always better. And one of the ways to do so is to use the circle exercise. And as you guys can see in the illustration in front of you, you put a big circle, and inside this circle, you write your goals, what you want to do. And you divide them into categories. So what do you want in your health? What do you want in your wealth? What do you want in your happiness or in your relationships? And you write the SMART goals that we talked about. You put what you really need to be doing in each and every area in your life. And then outside the circle, you write the things that you want to avoid. And these things that you want to avoid, then they can also be smart, or they can be just general. So for example, if one of the things you're trying to avoid is, let's say, negative thoughts, you need to replace it with something else. That means right next to it, you're right, for example, think about something positive. Every time you think about something negative, you just switch it to something positive, let's say for the next week. So for the next week, every single time you notice that you're having negative thoughts, you're just going to think about the positive side. And this way, you are avoiding the stuff that you don't want in life. You are avoiding them, the stuff outside the circle. You're pushing them out by being smart about it, by putting a smart goal to this smart problem. You're turning it from a problem to a smart problem. So because what you're basically doing is you are using this problem to your advantage. Every single time you're having a negative thought, you're using this to your advantage by thinking about positive things. And eventually, this would align and should align with your goals, because the things that you want to avoid and the things that you don't want are usually things that might stand between you and your goals. So if there are some problems that you just cannot avoid, you cannot avoid having negative thoughts, but you can turn it, as I said, from a problem to a smart problem, where this problem can actually be advantageous to you. It can actually give you something instead of taking something away from you. And lastly, aim for the stars. If you fail, you'll land on the moon. Don't put high expectations and don't put low expectations. Don't put any expectations at all. People put goals and they put expectations in their head instantly, which is detrimental for you and for your mindset and for your mental state. Having no expectations is the best way to go. When you have high expectations, very high expectations, it's very easy for you to get disappointed. And when you have really low expectations, you're not going to work as hard as you should. But when you have no expectations at all and you have a smart goal that you need to follow, and that you know that this smart goal will get you to where you want to get, without having any kind of expectations, you will get there even before you realize it. And the other thing is, you need to aim high, because this is the only way that you will push yourself to work more. When I say aim high, I'm not talking about putting high expectations. I'm talking about the goals themselves. If your goal is to lose 5 pounds in the next month, for example, try to aim a little bit higher. Try to go for 6 pounds and work accordingly. So this way, you will try harder because your goal right now is bigger, and you might end up losing even more than 6 pounds. However, you might not lose 6 pounds, but it will not matter because you did not put your expectations up too high. And then you will just set another goal and keep working accordingly. So also, if one of your goals is to get a B in your final, aim to get an A plus. Even if you get a B without putting high expectations, you'll be satisfied. But guess what? When you're aiming to get an A plus, you're gonna work so much harder that it's gonna be more possible for you to actually reach this A plus or A, or just get any grade that is higher than B. Eventually, even if you fail, if you aim for the stars, you might land on the moon. However, even when you're aiming higher, you need to aim higher as a SMART goal. So, the example that we gave before, if you want to get a B and you aim for an A plus, you need to know that an A plus will demand way more studying. So, once this is going to be the next goal, you need to ask yourself all the different questions. Does it meet the acronym criterias? If you only have a half an hour left in your day because you have a lot of other stuff to do, and your goal is to get a B, and your SMART goal goes well with this plan, and then you want to switch it to another SMART goal aiming higher, which is getting an A plus, and you realize that you need 1.5 hours more a day for you to be able to get the A plus. Choosing this plan, despite knowing that it is not attainable because you don't have the time a day to do it, you are not just going to affect this goal itself, but you might also, and you will affect other goals because you'll be taking time from something else. As we said, goals is basically you sacrificing your time to do something else, sacrificing whatever you had to do at this time to do something else, which is your goal. So, before you aim high, even if you have a lot of motivation and a lot of drive, you need to be smart about it. That's why it's called SMART goal. Having this motivation and feeling these emotions inside of you is something amazing. It's beautiful, and it can give you a lot of boost and a lot of motivation, and it will push you beyond your boundaries, beyond what you really think are your limits. But even when that happens, sit down and relax and think about it. Is it a SMART goal? Is it specific, measurable, attainable, realistic? And is there a time frame? If this is the case, then it's a go. Then aiming higher would be better. That means you will be improving your goals and not just setting yourself to your limits. So again, set SMART goals and then try to aim higher. But if you feel like aiming higher does not match the acronym criterias for SMART goals, don't go for it, because it will not be a SMART goal.